So good.
All right. Oh my goodness. It is Sunday night service and we are back. We are back.
We're back.
I haven't seen him since the last time we did service. And so guys, listen, as soon as you get logged on tonight, hit your heart buttons, your like buttons, because I'm telling you right now, you are going to want to hear about this. Get your notepads ready because we're talking smart meters, cell phones, wireless laptops, wireless routers. We are talking electromagnetic fields. It's going to be unbelievable. Here's to Sunday night service. Sunday night service. We're back. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's really good.
This is actually going to be a 2 or 3 part series. So as you get on, hit your heart buttons, hit your like buttons. Come on now, tell us where you're from and post your questions up there as well. So let me look on this computer. All right, we're talking electromagnetic fields, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you have a cell phone, a laptop, a microwave, a smart meter on your home, right out back, a smart thermostat, if you live within 1,000 feet of a cell phone tower, if you have a baby monitor, we're going to talk all about this. If you have children that go to school with a wireless router in their room or their whole school is wireless routed, right?
Yeah.
If you have a wireless router in your home, if you have a Bluetooth headset that you use or Bluetooth earbuds that you use, if you have a wireless mouse, a wireless keyboard, a cordless phone, how about a hairdryer?
A hairdryer.
A hairdryer. One of the most deadly things you can use is a hairdryer.
Wow.
Has to be a minimum of 5 feet from your head in order to not have the radiation go through your brain. How can you have a hairdryer 5 feet from your head? You can't.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, this is fascinating tonight.
This
Listen,
is great.
If you have a Fitbit, I haven't worn this in a year and a half now because I knew how dangerous this was on my bones. If you have a smartwatch, if you have a heated mattress pad, if you have a heated mattress, if you have a smart bed, if you have a sleep number bed that's electric, right?
Wow.
Then you better watch this tonight and you better take notes because I'm telling you right now, you're doing nothing but frying your brain, your bones, your ovaries, your testicles, you name it. It's getting fried. Okay. You're being bombarded with microwave and electrical radiation and you will want to clean up your environment. I promise you. We have a growing, now I have 12 pages of research here that I've gone through. 12 pages that this is like a document I've made. So tonight we're going to talk, he and I are going to talk. And then next week, Vicki Warren is going to be on and she should be watching tonight. Vicki, if you're on, just say hello, do something. Vicki Warren is an electrical engineer who's actually local here, about an hour and a half, 2 hours from Nashville. She is brilliant, and you need to watch her videos with Dr. Mercola, and we'll talk about those at the end. But she's going to be our guest next Sunday night talking about the dangers of 5G. She's going to be talking about how to protect your home, how to protect your kids, how to protect your brain, and all those things. But we have a growing, I mean, huge growing body of evidence that cell phones and cell phone radiation are damaging. And they're causing brain cancers and they're quite possibly causing brain cancers, right? Even at very low levels could harm our health in a million different ways, right? The World Health Organization, the WHO, right, has recently listed cell phones right here as a class 2B as in boy carcinogen.
Wow.
Possibly carcinogenic to humans. This cell phone is in the exact same category as lead, engine exhaust, DDT, and jet fuel.
No.
So you think this is safe to give your kid to sit it on his lap and let him play for an hour and a half? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Studies in Europe show that people who use their cell phones heavily for over 10 years have a doubled risk of brain cancer. And those who begin using cell phones as teenagers have a 4 to 5 times higher chance of being diagnosed with brain cancer.
No way.
This comes directly off the page, the ehtrust.org, environmentalhealthtrust.org, one of my all-time favorites. That came right off of them. I did not make that up. I copied and pasted that right there. If you guys are logging on, you can share this as well. So you can actually share when you log on and you see this, there will be an option for you to share this with your friends. You can do that because I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be life-saving information tonight. All right. Hello, Mary Ellen. Hello. Wireless radiation could harm the reproductive system as well. So we have lots of growing evidence on this. There have been many experiments that have been conducted on wireless radiation and sperm.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Scientists at the Cleveland Clinic and major research centers around the world have repeatedly found that sperm from healthy men that are exposed to cell phone radiation die 3 times more quickly and develop 3 times more damage to the mitochondrial DNA than sperm from the same men that are not exposed.
wow.
So where are they putting their, oh, you can't see me. Where are they putting their phones? Boom.
Boom.
Right here over their testicles.
Yep.
Right here in the back,
Yep.
on their backside right there.
Yep.
Women are the same though with their ovaries. There are case studies that show that young women who stored their cell phones in their bras for years
yes.
developed unusual tumors right below the location of the antenna. And many times this is going to be in the medial side. Breast cancer, as a rule, is out here on the lateral side. It's on the tail of Spence right here under the armpit kind of thing right here. That's where most breast cancers are. These breast tumors for these women who are cell phone breast tumors, they're right here inside where the cell phone antenna is.
That is
Okay.
phenomenal.
These
Wow.
women had no history of breast
Wow.
cancer or genetic predisposition, meaning mom didn't have breast cancer, grandma didn't, sister didn't have breast cancer. So what we're going to do, guys, is y'all are logging on. Thanks, Wendy in Cape Coral, Florida. Guys, tell us where you're from if you've logged on here. Tell us where you're from. Post your questions here. I see we got a ton of people watching already. We are going to take the next couple of weeks and try to unpack this and uncoil this, you know, the best way we can. It may be 3 weeks. We may end up doing this for 3 weeks because it's a serious topic.
It is a very serious
It's very serious, and it's getting even more serious with 5G rolling out. Heck, I was stressed just researching this. I mean, I was really stressed. I mean, he wasn't stressed. He was in Hawaii. I wasn't stressed at
I was
all.
working in Hawaii.
But I'm going to tell you right now, we have not even touched the tip of the iceberg on this. I haven't. We haven't as a world trying to research this. All right. So we're gonna start tonight with wireless radiation and electromagnetic fields, right?
Okay.
We're going to talk about statistics and some of the studies that are surrounding it, right? We're going to give you some tips and tricks this week, but we're really going to bring it on home tomorrow. I mean, next week here. So you'll definitely want to be back for part 2 of this. I'm not an electrical engineer, neither is he. So this is difficult because I don't understand AC, DC, all that stuff. I mean, AC, DC's a damn band in the 80s when I was, you know, growing up, right?
They still
And
play.
so I was married to a master electrician for 11 years. I should have listened to him. I should have learned about this. I should have known. I was this close to calling Greg tonight and saying, hey, man, what do you know about? But I thought, no, I better just let sleeping dogs lie, literally.
Man,
But anyway.
that pretty much proves that when you're talking to your wife, they may not be listening to you.
Oh, yeah, I didn't listen to anything you talked about this. But guess what? Okay, so there's something called electromagnetic hypersensitivity. And I bet you see this a lot. In fact, I know I do. There's a gal named Julie Levine, or it may be Levine, I'm not sure. But anyway, what this involves is, you know, having a reaction to wireless activity. And you may not even know it. Heart palpitations, arrhythmia, feeling anxious, feeling nauseous, having a migraine headache, actually vomiting, joint pain, fatigue, insomnia. Those are all, I mean, just a few of the symptoms, an actual heart attack from it. Those are a few symptoms of something that is called electromagnetic hypersensitivity.
Wow.
Do you know that the American with Disabilities Act is trying to make this an actual disability? And I believe it.
I
believe it because some people are hypersensitive, right? So these are people who have, you know, who are reacting to cell phones, towers, smart meters, microwaves, wireless routers, thermostats, laptops, all those things, right? Do you know that right now there are more cell phones in the United States than there are people? What?
Sorry, I can't believe that. Are you
more
kidding?
cell phones than there are people? And I looked up because I don't know how many people are in the United States. 325.7 million people in the United States as of 2017.
Wow.
We have more cell phones than we have people. So we have over 325 million cell phones in the United States.
It's AI, guys. It's like one of those movies where the cell phones come alive.
I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous, and I don't doubt it. How many people have cell phones all over the
Everybody
place?
has a cell
Right?
phone.
At least one, maybe two.
And then the kids even play. They want to have a cell phone.
That's exactly right.
Fake phone
So we give, but we also give our other phones to our kids, right? And then we upgrade, and they get the ones that are probably putting out even worse stuff. So, so the number of cell phone calls per day, the length of each call, and the amount of time people use cell phones has increased rapidly the last 5-10 years.
Oh, I can see this.
Right? And all those symptoms that we talk about. So I said here, you know, the basics are not so basic. And this is where we're going to try to tease this out. But very little bit are we going to talk about here, because next week we're going to have an actual true electrical engineer talking about this, because I really don't understand all this. But here's how it works. And I have copied and pasted and put my own little things in here from EH Trust and a couple of other Dr. McCullough's website. Every wireless device is actually a two-wave microwave radio, right? So it's a microwave, the same microwave that's over here, right over here in my kitchen, which we're going to talk about microwaves. It's the exact same microwave frequency there, right? And it sends and receives the type of non-ionizing electromagnetic radiation called radio frequency radiation, or RF, EMF, right? This machine made, because this is man-made radiation, right, is millions of times higher than the natural electromagnetic fields our grandparents were exposed to, right? Like the sun. The sun is a natural electromagnetic field, right? So these man-made microwave radiations are millions, and they're predicting like 7 times, 20 times, whatever, more powerful than the natural man-made electromagnetic fields, right? There have been like tons, multiple peer-reviewed studies in journals and all that have shown that man-made pulsed electromagnetic frequencies cause adverse biological effects that are very different than the natural electromagnetic fields that have existed in the environment for generations, right? Research on humans has found an association between cell phone use right here, there we are, and serious effects such as brain cancer, headaches, damage to the brain, like just non-cancer tumors, but also shrinkage and things like dementia and Alzheimer's, immune system, etc. Right? Yale has studied, and they have found that cellular radiation exposure during pregnancy, now pregnancy is a whole nother ball of wax, led to increased hyperactivity and memory problems in those children.
Oh, wow.
Now, Dr. Klinghardt did a study on 10 children, autistic children, and found in that study only 10, not more than 10, so it never got published because it was a small number, right? That those children had higher exposure to electromagnetic fields while in the womb than their counterparts who were not autistic. The mom had more exposure to EMFs, right? Laptops on her belly.
Oh, man.
Laptops in her bed at night, or when she's sleeping, or cell phones in her bed at night when she's sleeping, or working around a lot. I mean, so it always, It
is completely surprising, and it's actually, not only say scary, but what's to be expected, though, when you think you have a computer in your hand. And one of the things that we talk about in a lot of the acupuncture courses we take, or I take, or in the literature you read, is that your whole body is basically the electrical system, because you have electricity running through you.
Yes.
All the electricity in your body is running through a lot of your fascial system. The fascial system is your connective tissue, and the connective tissue, and remember, you have different types of fascia. There's some that wrap around your bones, there's some that wrap through your muscles, and there's even ones that go into your brain, okay? But most of that is very liquid. So it's like a web, but it's very movable, and it has a lot of water in it. It's very electrically conductive. So you conduct electricity through your fascia. If you put something like a battery or a cell phone that's actually putting heat into that area, you'll heat fascia up. Yes. And you can actually basically disrupt or cause a circuit break within the fascia. So in acupuncture, if you do too much of like a phone in an area, you'll actually disrupt an acupuncture point, which will actually disrupt an organ. So wearing that can do that sometimes. That's how we think about it in Chinese medicine. Isn't that something? And like when you talk about DNA as well, it also apparently this breaks
It's a double bond break.
Yep.
These I don't understand. If Vicky's watching, she can talk about it. It's not like a single bond, because your DNA is 2 strands, right? Wrapped around like this, kind of like,
the centromere and the little
yes. And this radiation actually breaks both of those bonds, from what I understand. All right. So this is an intracellular problem, right? Inside the cell.
Yeah.
So I watch so many of these podcasts and stuff, but Dr. Mercola, there's a podcast with a Dr. Paul, P-A-L-L.
Mm-hmm.
He is brilliant.
Yep.
Absolutely brilliant. He didn't do the research, but he compiled all the research that had been studied. So what we're talking about here is calcium channels, right? Mm-hmm. Calcium channels in our cells are disrupted by the EMFs, right? By EMF exposure, increasing intracellular calcium. Okay, so what happens when intracellular calcium inside the cells is increased, right? So what happens is the EMFs work by activating what is called voltage-gated calcium channels.
Yeah.
It's called VGCCs, voltage-gated calcium channels. Those channels are the outer membrane of the cell,
mm-hmm.
okay? The plasma membrane that surrounds the cells. That's what these VGCCs are. When they are activated by all of these electromagnetic fields, right? Everything we have all over us, when those cells are activated, those channels open up and allow calcium to flow into the cell.
Oh.
It's the excess calcium in the cell which is responsible for most of the damage, if not all of the biological effects from electromagnetic fields. So it's this increased calcium in the cells. This is why they give calcium channel blockers, heart medicine to people who are having heart palpitations, right?
Wow. That's great.
And anxiety. Calcium channel blockers. Boom, because it blocks those calcium channels and those VGCCs. It's fascinating to me.
Your anxiety can go up then if you're like opening up the door for all the calcium.
Absolutely. So by using cell phones, the radiation from it moves into our brain, our bones, our glands in the head and neck region. Bluetooth around the neck creates inflammation as well, right? The same as when you use a wireless laptop, the radiation penetrates into the abdomen, the leg, and the bones, and the internal organs and the chest if you set that laptop on your body. I mean, it's fascinating to me. And so understanding the mechanism. Okay, so once the VGCC is activated by the EMFs, then the channels open up. About 1 million ions per second. 1 million ions per second are sent through your cells, these charges, okay? This will increase the release of nitric oxide. See, he hadn't seen this yet. I didn't. Free radicals, right? Which nitric oxide is a good thing. We need free radicals. We need free radicals, but we don't need an excess of free radicals, right? Excess will accelerate our aging rapidly. So they turn on these channels, and then it increases nitric oxide.
Wow.
Isn't it fascinating?
Because like what she said with nitric oxide is a free radical which our bodies use to kill off infections and help clean up the system.
Yes.
If you have tons of them, think about like millions of pinballs just running through your cells, and after a while they'll damage everything there. They'll tear through your cells, they'll tear through nerves, and that's where people have like neuropathy symptoms when they have this, or they have tingling or numbness, or like MS type.
They hold their phone. So they were talking about, do you when you hold your phone up to your head, like, does your face tingle at all? Do your hands tingle at all?
That totally makes sense now. Like, my brain is like, boom.
See,
okay, what?
I mean, this stuff is maddening to me.
Man.
And it's just so scary because you can't live in a bubble, right?
Exactly.
I mean, you can't live in a bubble.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Okay, so we're all adults, right? I'm going to be 53 next week. You were 40 yesterday, December 30th.
I'm 40.
He's 40, December 30th. Last night was his big party, right? But so we're big kids, right? We're grown-ups, and we can protect ourselves if we choose to, right? Yeah. But the children, what are we doing to the children? We're hurt. We're killing them. Yeah. We are straight up killing these kids. And children are more susceptible to the damage from electromagnetic fields for multiple reasons. Their little brains are not developed. Their bones are not hard yet. I mean, we are pushing this radiation through these kids' bodies. This is fascinating. The average radio frequency radiation energy deposition, right, for children exposed to mobile phone radio frequency is 2 times higher in the brain and 10 times higher in the bone marrow of the skull compared with mobile phone use by adults.
Guys,
okay, we're killing these kids. I mean, we are, and I believe that in the future, it's going to look back, and the next generation of kids and the next generation of kids, they're going to be like, what happened to those dummies? They killed us. I mean, they killed a generation of people. This is a piece of the reason that this is the first generation of children that are going to die before their parents.
Wow.
Right?
That's true.
I mean,
that
research was released a decade ago that this generation of children is the first time in the history of the United States that we've buried our kids before us. This is a piece of the puzzle, a piece of it. Multiple studies have shown that cell phone radiation penetrates more deeply into children's brains. Research has also found that radiation from tablets penetrates more deeply into children's brains. There was a 2018 study, so just last year, that considered the radiation dose into the brain of teenagers, found that teens who used cell phones up to their head had decreased memory performance on researchers' test.
Wow.
We're dumbing them down. We're dumbing them down. I'm telling you, right in front of us. Harvard doctors have published research linking electromagnetic fields to autism. Now, Vicki Warren has a big thing about that. She has a real passion with autism and electromagnetic fields, and she'll talk about that next week, I'm sure. But I'm telling you, the children, we have got to be careful about the children. Those baby monitors, if you have a wireless baby monitor in your baby's bedroom, you better throw it out now, because it is doing nothing but harming that baby. Wire it, hardwire it. Have a hardwired one and have it away from the bed. You don't have to see the crib. I didn't see the crib in my kids. I could hear it if they were moving around, but I couldn't see the picture.
It's true though. I mean, like today, like when you talk about kids, we're at a seminar not too long ago, and they talked about like cellular health and mental health.
Yes.
Where a child, if you watch a child watch iPad, and a funny comment about like the irony is that we're watching this on our phone. Somebody said that.
Oh, I know that.
But when a kid grabs a phone and you watch them, and sometimes they're so mesmerized, and we are too as adults. Don't get me wrong. We watch it, and their mouths are open. They're like, and the reason they say that magnetic waves, when they hit certain parts of, they call the part of the brain called the hippocampus and the pineal gland, actually been shown that those kinds of waves can actually harden the brain as a kid develops. So their brain's supposed to be full of fat, right, guys? We have brains that are full of fat and water, and they should develop and be soft and moist. But those waves heat it up, and so they actually bake the brain a bit. And that's why kids, when they watch too much things before they're 2 or 3, will have learning disorders, because the brain has to be flexible to transmit electricity.
You bet.
And signal.
In multiple countries.
It's not going to happen. So a lot of people, so just that, I mean, it's amazing that you said
it's outlawed in multiple countries to give children under the age of 2 any sort of wireless device.
What?
Outlawed. Japan's one of them.
No, I didn't know that.
Did you know that Russia has the hardest EMF radio frequency laws of any country out there? I mean, they know. In China, the pregnant women have to wear protective clothing that has silver in it.
Oh yeah.
Pregnant women have to wear, and they're fined if they're caught on the street without their protective clothing. I'm telling you now,
the
United States is way far behind. Yeah, we got our tinfoil hats on, and they think we're nuts. So he comes in, and I've got aluminum foil all over my computer tonight, all down here trying to, in fact, unplug that. So it's worse when it's plugged in, right? So it's emitting. Don't turn us off. Yeah, there we go. So I just unplugged it, so we got to keep a watch on the battery here. If it's plugged in, it's emitting more EHS. Okay, so these are some studies that I pulled directly off of ehtrust.org, and we're just touching it now. I picked out my favorite ones. Cancer. We're going to start with cancer. What are some of the problems here with cancer and fertility and neurological and things? There was a study in 2015 that showed, it was a replication study, which confirmed that wireless electricity or wireless radiation acts as a tumor promoter. In this study, lymphomas and tumors of the lungs and the liver were exposed, and exposed animals were significantly higher, right? Wow. The wireless exposure was at low to moderate exposure levels, well below what your cell phone says you need to have. So this was below that. They were below what the cell phone says is safe. This research is significant because what it did, it replicated a prior study in 2010 that said the same thing, but this one was on a bigger scale. So it's promoted. Do you know I had a patient this past year, 44 years old, with a 2-year-old little girl, died in 4 months of diagnosis. I said, something's wrong. Something was wrong with her blood.
Oh,
and I sent her to, I said, I don't know what this is. I knew it looked like cancer, but I couldn't tell. Long story short, and we won't go into it, she was dead in 4 months. It was a liver cancer. No, I'm sorry. It was a kidney cancer that was 14 centimeters.
Oh, wow.
Huge. Had metastasized to the liver, the brain, and the lungs.
Oh, man.
Now, I don't know anything about her cell phone radiation and all of that, but I am telling you, I know, I mean, she's 44 years old. She was around a lot of, and she was a disc jockey. Yeah. So she was in, think of everything that she was in, all of the radiation.
Because we do sit in a sea of radiation.
Yes, we do. Oh, that's fascinating. Vicky's going to talk about that next week, and something they're trying to develop right now in the EMF world to suck up the radiation that's going on in the air. It takes 10 to 15 years for tumor growths to appear most of the time, right? And this is talking about, does your face tingle when you use your cell phone, your hands? Do you have trouble sleeping at night? Do you feel nausea or funny around your cell phone? Ah, Vicky's on. Yes, thank goodness Vicky Warren's on here. Woo! I'm not a what I say, electrical engineer.
Oh, I'm not either.
But yeah,
so
but
Vicky,
we're past all
say,
of that. So right now, so we're just talking about some of the
research.
research.
If we did anything
but
wrong.
Vicky Turner Warren is on. She is in the house tonight. I'm excited. Hey, do you know that in 2009, LeBron James had a salivary gland tumor?
I didn't know that.
Did you know that? Salivary glands right here, tumor. Was it from cell phone use? That's the question.
You never know.
We don't know. Well, that kind of got held under kept under the radar, didn't it? Fertility and reproduction. This is huge. If you are young, if you are reproductive, or you are of reproductive age, if you have testicles and you want to have a baby, if you have ovaries and you want to have a baby, you need to listen up to this, right? Consistent evidence from the experimental research, epidemiologic studies, in vitro studies, there's all kinds of studies out there, I'm not going to go through that, show that RF exposure is associated with reduced sperm count, motility, and concentration, as well as DNA damage and altered cell structure to the sperm, right? It also shows that damage after wireless exposure to the ovaries of rats and mice, as well as changes in the eggs of flies and birds. So protect the ovaries, protect the testicles, protect the family jewels down there, all right? Wow. Microwave, 2.4 megahertz. Okay, wait, I don't know what I'm saying right here. 2 to 3, okay, there was a study that showed that mice, after 2 to 3 generations away from the exposure to the same frequency of microwave, which is, I guess, 2.4 megahertz, will be sterile. 2 to 3 generations later, they'll be sterile. The rats died out in the study 2 to 3 generations later.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
So I heard Vicky say on an interview today with Dr. McCullough, it takes 2 generations to, really see some bad outcomes. And then I talked about Dr. Klinghart's studies with autism and how closely the mom slept to electromagnetic fields, and his 10-patient study that he did wasn't very too many patients there. But the bottom line is, on fertility and reproduction, you really want to protect. And they have these things called pregnancy blankets. I didn't know about it.
I've heard of them.
You have?
I've heard of them. I had 2 patients that told me about it. But I haven't, had one at the office.
Well, I'm a midwife, and I didn't know anything about pregnancy blankets, but I'm not surprised.
It is alarming though. Like when you talk about DNA damage, I was reading a report, and then I had some conversation with a couple colleagues about how much me personally, and I guess in our culture, forget how electrical a cell is, and how much your cells run off electricity and different types of charges and polarities. Yeah. And I wouldn't think that, guys. I always think that most of the cells, I think it's just liquid and chemicals.
We're all electricity.
Or it's just electricity, and chemicals run off electrical charge, and they attract to each other because of electron spins and stuff. But I would say that if with that frequency of microwave going into DNA damage, remember each cell has to produce a certain amount of energy molecules, right? And if you decrease the amount of energy molecules just by the electricity you're sitting by or by what's on your stomach, you're not going to produce energy any cells where that battery's at. Like it may, and I would say this, if Vicky, like when she talked about next week, I would say that I wonder how far the charges go. Like if you had it on your stomach.
Okay, well, I got something about that.
To your brain, or okay.
No, I got something about
really
that.
Good.
I got something about that.
Do that while I get some more wine. I got to do this.
Okay. So neurotoxic effects, right? There's been some research that shows chronic exposure to, it's in the door, to wireless reduces the brain cells and causes brain cell death in the memory and learning centers of the brain. Cell phone radiation has also been shown to alter brain activity in humans. There was a 2011 study, the NIH found 50 minutes of wireless transmitting, using a wireless transmitting device, your cell phone, next to the brain increases glucose in the part of the brain most exposed. Okay.
Wow.
So preliminary 3 and 4G research has shown that non-thermal levels of the radiation alter the brain's electrical activity. I mean, we're frying our brains.
Yeah, it's completely frying. And I'm saying this as a question, guys, with all of you. I would say that we're frying our brains because I would just suggest it's almost like similar to saying like putting fat in a skillet and heating it up.
Sure. Isn't that something?
That is crazy.
Okay. So cognition and impaired memory research. Yale University found that prenatally exposed pups had impaired memory, increased hyperactivity, and altered brains, consistent with growing literature that keeps coming out. We're doing a lot of research on brains. Many studies have now demonstrated that wireless signals can damage cognitive abilities such as learning, memory, attention, and reaction times. Think about these children in these schools.
And they have Wi-Fi running through their schools, and they all have iPads.
Yes.
Most of them. I don't know.
So listen to this. Okay, this is Dr. Hugh Taylor of Yale. He said, we have shown that behavioral problems in mice that resemble ADHD are caused by cell phone exposure in the womb. The rise in behavioral disorders in human children may be in part to fetal cellular telephone irradiation exposure. Irradiation exposure.
Oh no!
So
I could see that.
Okay. The rise in behavioral disorders in human children may be in part due to fetal cellular telephone irradiation exposure. Cell phones, computers before you're born, even affecting your baby, the baby. It's unbelievable to me. 1/2 of us will die of Alzheimer's disease. Okay. Man. The highest amount of Alzheimer's disease in areas of the there was a study in Sweden that showed the highest amounts of Alzheimer's disease in that area where they were in Sweden had the highest electromagnetic field radiation by cell phones.
Wow.
EMF, right?
Yep. Because think about it.
My mom has got dementia, probably Alzheimer's. I don't know. She's doing real well right now. She's on CBD oil. Well, anyway, that's a whole nother story. But it's interesting. She's never used a cell phone in her life. I mean, she barely has a cell phone, doesn't know how to use it. So, I mean, hers is clearly not coming from cell phones. But isn't that something?
It's amazing because I think with each culture, guys, like we live in America where we, like you said, increases the glucose within the brain. We live in a culture where Dani talks about how much, I guess, trans fats we eat, how much sugars, and how it deteriorates the body. The alarming thing is that in your cells, it's covered by fat. And they say that genetically, as we get weaker in America, because we eat the way we do, or we try not to eat horribly, it can actually demyelinate the nerves because of the inflammation. They say that a lot of nerves that are demyelinated, which means the insulation around your nerve gets torn off, and the higher the amount of EMF, they say that some cultures, like America, get affected more than other cultures because of our low good fats, and it actually can irritate your nerves because our nerves shed the protective layer because of our bad diets. So you add that with EMF, that makes sense. Like you'll find people who can probably talk on a phone all day, and I guarantee they're going to be like, how's that person not have cancer in their brain?
Yes.
And like, how's that? I'm wondering, guys, like there's genetics that dictate.
Well, and Dr. McCullough talks about that as well. You know, healthy people, really healthy people, may not be affected by this so much, right? They may not need aluminum foil all over the place. And
like if you walk in tomorrow, aluminum foil,
I'm going to wear my tinfoil hat tomorrow to work because I sit in front of a computer all day long.
I love it.
Allie would die if I walk in all in like aluminum foil. But anyway, you know, so it doesn't, okay. I don't believe that it doesn't affect everyone because it's accumulative and it's slow, right? It's like cancer. It takes 10 to 15 years many times for a tumor to develop. This is the same thing. It's accumulative. The more and if your body's not detoxing, right? So it all goes back many times to how you detox. That's right. Okay, so hearing loss. I didn't know this, but it makes perfect sense. Think about it. Research in humans shows that chronic mobile phone usage and results in high frequency hearing loss and inner ear damage. Look at this. Research has also shown a significant risk of tumors on the auditory nerve in the brain, acoustic neuromas. Right?
Wow.
Well, look, right here. I mean, it's right here. I can't tell you how many people I counted today driving down the road who had their phone on their head. I almost got out of the car at a stoplight and banged on this guy's window and said, get that phone off of your head. A girl was in the office yesterday, a little teenager. She's 13 or 14 years old. And her mom had her in the office. It was Saturday. I was in there. Anyway, she had that phone. She stuck it literally in her, she opened up her leggings and she put it right here. And I said, get the phone away from your ovaries right now. And I never met this girl ever. It's the first time ever. She was horrified. I said, get that out of here, frying your ovaries right now. Her mom's a doctor in town. And yeah, it was funny. And I said, get it out. But it's true. It's true. Okay. Insomnia and sleep. Do you have a hard time sleeping? Do you have a hard time sleeping? Do you wake up at night? Do you get nauseated at night? Do you lay down and you're like this at night and your heart's pounding at night? Yep. Well, it could be because the radiation from your wireless device, right? It damages your sleep. You can't get into your REM sleep when you have all of these electromagnetic fields going on around you. It's shown to delay the entrance into deep non-REM sleep and decrease time spent in this stage of sleep. The quantity and quality of sleep has a profound effect. Yes, it does on learning and memory. Absolutely, it does. You can't heal if you can't sleep. Vicki Warren is going to talk a lot about this next week.
She just said the belly blanket was lined with metal and serves as a shield for the embryo.
In the 50s, this was, here, click see more. Whoops, wait. Okay. In the, he's going to click and see what it says. We can price it on the big computer, but not here. On the belly blankets, So if you can't sleep, oh my goodness, and Vicki gave me some 5 tips. I said, give me top 5 tips, and we're going to talk about that at the end of this, but you got to think about your bedroom. So we can't get away from these electromagnetic fields all day long, right? You may work in an office like I do, where we've got computers everywhere and we've got fluorescent lights up above us. I don't have any fluorescent lights in this house, or you've got, wherever it is you go, wherever it is you work, you're surrounded all day long by radio frequency, right? But when you get in your bedroom at night, it needs to be a sanctuary. Yeah. You need to be able to 100% reboot. Your cells need to heal at night. That's when you heal. That's when your body detoxes. That's when you regenerate at night. You can't do that if you've got outlets plugged in, or you're plugged into outlets right beside your bed. You have your cell phone in your bed. You have, even if it's on airplane mode,
right beside your head on your nightstand.
That's exactly right. Or in your bedroom, like a lot, or in your pillow, on your pillow, like a lot of teenagers, right? Yes. Or you have the wireless router right next door. You've got computers or TVs, or you've got lights plugged in. You have an outlet right beside you. It's quite fascinating.
It is. Such
Headaches, increased headaches in children that are exposed prenatally and postnatally to electromagnetic fields. Oxidative stress, right? That's good. All right. Okay. So there was a study that shows that 93 out of 100, they looked at 93 out of 100 currently available peer-reviewed studies. 93 indicated that the radio frequency radiation increases oxidative stress. Okay. It damages cells and the DNA through the production of peroxides and free radicals, right? Oxidative stress, of course, is implicated in all kinds of diseases like cancer and Alzheimer's and dementia and all kinds of, any sort of, neurological disease. Okay, this is crazy. And I did not know this. I knew about oxidative stress. I knew about a lot of these things. I had no idea about the endocrine system. Of course, it makes perfect sense. Those of you that have thyroid problems, you got to listen up. This is crazy. All right. Research has shown, right, so impacts on the pineal gland, the adrenal gland, and the thyroid gland, right? These hormones, of course, they balance you out, and they control hormones, and they control sleep and things like that as well. Low levels of microwave exposure can reduce melatonin. Okay, so now that makes sense, right? Because these computers, we know that they reduce melatonin, right? Ideally, when you go to bed at night, melatonin rises and cortisol drops to the lowest it's going to be in 24 hours. Well, we've messed all of this up with blue lights and all these things in computers and lights and all those things, right? Melatonin is critical for maintaining sleep, but it also is an extremely important antioxidant that helps repair damaged DNA and reduces the growth of cancer cells. So we got to fix this. But research shows that thyroid hormone levels can be impacted by wireless radiation. Makes perfect sense. Completely. I never thought about it though. It has been established that even a small change in thyroid hormone can affect the brain. Absolutely. So there's 2 studies on here. One's from 2009, one's from 2005 on here that shows that it may be concluded that possible bad effects of mobile microwaves on the hypothalamic pituitary thyroid axis affects the level of hormones, raises the TSH, lowers the T3 and the T4.
Oh my word.
Fascinating. TSH values and T3 and T4 at the 900 megahertz EMF group were significantly lower. It's unbelievable. I know, affecting the thyroid even.
I would suspect, because like even your cells, most of your cells operate in like they say a microhertz, and that says megahertz. So your cells create sound, it creates vibration. Now, I'm not saying this as an electrical engineer. I just say cells vibrate at a very low rate, but you have trillions of your cells and they create lots of sound. But you're getting something that has megahertz. And think about it this way. Vibration and sound is basically waves, like in the ocean. And what they do is this, they keep bouncing off your cells. They keep aggravating your cells. So it's like me going to Dani and doing this to her all day. And she's like, I'm going to live with it all day, just walking around. And she's like, I'm getting used to it. And what do your cells do? They get stronger and they try to fight up. And what do? They build up resistance to it, but it also deteriorates them. And like you said, a calcium influx, all I'm saying is as they build up, that's where you can have like tumor growth, I would believe. Because because it harden your cells. Huh?
Oh, it's terrible. It is terrible, Tracy. Okay, then we're going to talk about heart. Then we're going to get in ways to decrease your exposure. But these are just a few things that I chose that we're talking about tonight. Disruptions in the heart functioning, right? So we've got research that shows that that increases in heart rate, heart palpitations, arrhythmias, dizziness, changes in blood pressure, right? And other disturbances in the heart's cardiovascular functioning after exposure to wireless radiation. Several studies reported changes in EEGs after prolonged repeated exposure to radio frequency radiation. I mean, it's unbelievable. So this is interesting right here. Damage may not be immediately visible, right? Yeah. Even if repeated. It may, however, in the long run, result in reduced brain reserve capacity that might be unveiled by other later diseases or even the wear and tear of aging. We cannot exclude that after some decades, often daily use, a whole generation of users may suffer negative effects such as autoimmune diseases and neurodegenerative diseases, maybe already in their middle ages. This was Dr. Salford, Nitty, and Dr. Parsons, right? And they were talking, this was in 2012. All right. So I am telling you, it is absolutely mind-boggling.
Vicki just said that, like, if you're at night, you says you can have your phone in airplane mode, but don't charge it.
Don't charge it. Yes, that's what I meant, Vicki. I knew that you had said that. So you can put it in airplane mode, but do not have it charging. And I can't wait for her to talk next week. Fun. I'm just going to sit back and let her talk because she has led two of our Hashimoto support group meetings, and it is absolutely mind-blowing to listen to her. I mean, all of us are just like dead silent when she's talking. I wish you could have been there for him. Okay, so what are we going to do to decrease exposure? These are some of the ways, and I'm sure Vicki has many more, but don't use your cell phone when the signal is weak. Okay? When the signal is weak, your phone, and I'm not technical, so I don't really know the terms. Your phone is searching harder, working harder to find the signal, right? So where are some places where your signal may be weak? The car, a bus, the train, an airplane, elevators, okay? It's searching harder and it's emitting more radiation as it's searching harder for the signal, right? It increases to emit the maximum amount of radiation because the phone repeatedly attempts to connect to the nearest network that it can find, right? So it's constantly, so it's putting out even more radiation if we're using this going down the road, right? Never put it on your body. Power it off. Don't even put it on airplane mode. Power it off 100% if it's going to be on your body. Okay. Children are to never have a cell phone or a tablet unless it is an emergency. Let me repeat that again. Children are to never have a cell phone or a tablet unless it's an emergency. I can't imagine why it would be an emergency, but anyway, I mean, my kids never had cell phones. I had to entertain them.
I didn't have any cell phone.
Yeah, I know. Children's skulls are thinner than adults and their brains are still developing. All right. But also think about I said about the skulls there, but I'm talking about their little bones, their little thighs that they set their computer on top of, right? And we're seeing more tumors in the femurs, right? We're seeing more tumors in the abdomens, all of this. So they're sitting these little babies with these computers that are emitting this radiation, this microwave radiation, all through their little body.
Really? And if you're turning on those those calcium receptors and those pathways for allowing the calcium to get into the cells, a lot of tumors that they research and they biopsy have what? They have like excess fat, toxins, and calcium.
That's right.
Inside the tumors.
Okay, their skulls are thinner. All right. Radiation from cell phones penetrates more deeply into their brains and is likely to cause more damage. Unbelievable. Number 4, never, never, never sleep with your phone by your head or in your bed, right? Research shows that your sleep is disrupted. We already talked about that by cell phone radiation. If you need an alarm clock, well then, okay, you could put it on airplane mode, which is where mine is. And mine never charges because my charger's never in the bedroom. It's always out here. So and then I get up and it's half dead in the morning. Anyway, it's all a big vicious cycle. But I put it on airplane mode at night and set like 3 alarms because I never trust anything. And so, but anyway, if you need an alarm clock, right, simply set it to alarm or get a battery clock. Get a clock. And I heard Vicky today talking about get a phone get a clock that puts the time on the ceiling, you know, a battery. I don't know, one of those. But anyway, if you need to know what time it is in the middle of the night, if you're waking up, but you may not be waking up if you get your damn phone out of your bed and your computer out of your bed. The bed is for sleep and sex only.
She just makes me crack up. I mean, I love this, but like I'll be on for a few weeks, but I'm just like, it's so funny. It's like, okay, get your damn phone.
Well, get it out of there. Oh, Lord. All right, number 5. Use the home or the office corded landline. And daggone it, I was going to Goodwill today to get a corded phone, and I totally ran out of time. The curly phone.
No, you can't hardly find them.
Yeah, I wanted to go get one and show you guys that today. All right, because some of you may not know what it is. All right,
if you didn't know, something's wrong.
Okay, so if you're at work, use the corded landline. It's much better. Use a corded home landline, not a home cordless phone. So the cordless phone is a whole nother problem that we're getting ready to talk about.
But what if you're cooking and you wrap yourself in the cord while you're talking?
Oh my gosh, do you remember being a kid and using that phone? I used to pull that phone all the way across to try to get to my bedroom so I could talk.
And then when you got so crinkled up, you'd have to like unwind it.
You have to hold it like this and the thing would go like that. Yeah, these kids have no idea what fun we had. We couldn't get away from our parents. And then we had a party line. My grandmother had a party line. Did you ever have a party line? Do you know what a party line is?
No.
You don't know what a party line is?
Party
What's
line?
for poor people in the country.
Well,
I'm from Gilbertsville, Kentucky. So she had a party line. I'm about to burn up. A party line is when there's more. So I have the phone line and you have the phone line, and you're in a totally different house, and you pick the phone up. So you can't. It's cheaper to have a party line than it is one.
Gotcha.
Phone.
Okay.
So sometimes my grandmother had a party line.
Yep.
And so I would pick the phone up real easy and listen to the neighbor, to whoever. I don't know if it's the neighbor, but anyway, they were in their conversation. But you'd always know if somebody's on the party line. But anyway, we digress. And so we need corded phones. So what is it? Use the Dani right now. I know, right? Somebody's on the other line. Hang on a second. So I'm like, oh yeah. Most cordless phone. Okay, so listen to this about cordless phones, and I learned this from Vicki. Cordless phones use electromagnetic microwave technology, just like cell phones. Okay, most cordless phone base stations, right? So where you put the phone, where it sits, where it charges, constantly emit microwave radiation.
Wow. Yeah.
Constantly emit it. So regardless whether or not they're connected to their handset, right? The cordless phone handsets also emit microwave. Corded landlines have no radiation emissions, and they are definitely the safest. Who has a corded landline at home now? I don't have a landline anymore. I don't have a landline, and Vicki does. Vicki does. Yeah, I don't have a landline. If you have a landline, hit your button.
Teresa just said, hey, Teresa, she says, my grandmother had a party line. I'm like, what is a party line?
My grandmother had a party line too. Okay. Never use in a metal environment. Again, like what we're talking about, cars, buses, airplanes, that kind of thing. The metal surrounding reflect the waves inside the vehicle, often increasing your radiation exposure. Dr. McCullough says one of the worst things is using the Wi-Fi on the airplane.
Yeah?
Yeah. When you turn your Wi-Fi on there, you are just pinging off everywhere.
Wow.
And everybody who's sitting beside you too, right? You're getting his radiation, he's getting yours. Isn't that something?
Don't go to bed with a lot of radiation. It's really bad for you.
Sleep alone. That's what I do. Let's see. What am I saying? You also use passive. Okay, wait. Your use also passively exposes other persons near you, children, pregnant women, and other adults, to your phone's electromagnetic radiation fields. And also their exposure often increases when inside those metal enclosures. So think about it. You're exposing. It's like secondhand smoke. It's secondhand radiation. Secondhand radiation. Text instead of call always, and hold the phone away from your body.
I do
right?
That, yeah.
So even if you're on the phone, you use a speakerphone, right? And you hold it away. But text, if you can do that instead of calling, less radiation. All right. Protect the family jewels. So we know about that. Radiation has been shown to damage sperm and ovaries, right? So many times they'll move the phone away from their head and put it down on their stomach or their abdomen. Get it off your body. Always off your body. Read the manual. So it's buried in the legal section. This phone right here tells you exactly how far it has to be off of your body in order to technically be safe. If you have an iPhone, you go to settings, and then you go to general, and then you go to about. Settings, general, and then about. You scroll all the way to the bottom. There's a legal section. Did you know that?
No way.
Look here. There's a legal section.
Come on.
Right there.
What?
And then right there. Radio frequency exposure. Boom. Mine has to be 5 millimeters away from the body. All right. In order to prevent, exposure, apparently. And you can read this whole thing here. But 5 millimeters. This is what it says. So they're going to cover their tail here. But it's on your phone. It tells you. Your baby monitor tells you also. And it says somewhere, I think, around 8 inches or 20 centimeters, something like that. So if
anybody ever says that you're crazy by doing, like, putting a cell phone protector or something like that,
no, wait.
Okay.
We're getting ready to talk about that. Don't go down that road.
But I'm saying I would show them that,
you bet.
that thing.
You bet. Right there. That's exactly right. Okay, read the manual. Special note for pregnant women. It's especially important that pregnant women reduce their cell phone exposure because research has shown that, it can cause damage to the brain and the reproductive system of the developing baby. All right, so Baby Safe Project apparently is a website that you can go to. More distance equals less exposure. And Vicki next week, I hope, is going to talk about that because I don't really understand how it, every foot it goes down so much and it's cubed. I don't know. It's all these different things, but I don't understand it at all. But increase your distance. That's what I know to tell you. Increase your distance. Radiation levels fall off exponentially with distance from the antenna.
Okay.
So, but we don't know a safe level of cell phone radiation. We just don't know a true safe level. So here's some tips. Keep it away from your body always. Use it on speaker phone mode, right? Or air tube. Now, I don't know so much. Vicki may say, oh, this is a bunch of bullshit. Use air tube headset, not a wireless
because
headset.
Because it'll transmit it to your ears or transmit it to your brain?
Oh. Not a wireless earpiece. The electromagnetic field radiation is 1/4 the strength at a distance. I don't understand any of that, so I'm not even going to read that. But normal headphones, like the ones right here that you get with your iPhone, right, are purely wired. They're a wired connection, which exposes your head to a much larger amount of EMF radiation. Cool. So these I got for Christmas from one of my employees, an air tube headset. Now this may all be a bunch of BS, but Vicki will say, has a hollow, and it does, a hollow flexible tube that replaces the wire from the phone to the small earpiece. That makes total sense, though. The sound, show them that. The sound travels through this tube to the air, to the ear, through the tube of air to your ear, giving you good sound and all that. Now, here's the thing. The sound is good, but when I'm speaking to someone on a phone, I have a hard time with me speaking. It kind of echoes on it, so I'm not quite sure. I have the Tulsi brand, Tulsy brand. Yep. I don't know. They're air tubes, and supposedly they're supposed to be better, so that's what I've been using. I've had a hard time.
I like the way
with them staying. Well, they look good, but I'm having a hard time with them staying in my ears. So I don't know. But anyway,
like, do you ever do this? And you're like, hey everybody, how you doing? Comma. Hope you had a good day! Exclamation point. If you wait.
Yeah, what? It's ridiculous. I have left actual voicemails though with people like saying crap like that. Hey, it's Dani. Period. How are you?
I talked to my dad the other day.
Oh, I went, so embarrassed.
How you doing, Dad? Comma. And I went, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to do that.
Oh, I know. It's because apparently only old people, if you're 40 and above, voice text. All right. Okay. Don't carry the phone against the body. We already talked about that, right? Laptops and tablets should be placed on a table, not a lap. That's a stupid name for a computer, laptop. It's not supposed to be on your lap. I mean, it's just it's bad. It should be called a tabletop.
I'm sorry I laugh so much. It's just like, it is true. It's like, I never thought about that.
That's a bunch of crap. It's not a laptop because a laptop is going to give you bone cancer or abdominal cancer.
I'm not laughing at abdominal cancer. I'm not saying that. But I get to see the corporate meeting. They're like, guys, I got a suggestion.
We hate her.
We're going to make a computer that has a battery that can create cancer and tumors, but we're going to call it a laptop.
That's exactly right. I'm telling you, follow the money trail, people. You'll know who's running the world. Okay. It should be placed on the table, not on your lap. Turn off the wireless functions on your device, right? Okay. Turning them off removes the radio frequency radiation, but it does not remove the electromagnetic radiation. I don't understand that. Vicki's going to tell us that. It says always place your electronics on a table. Always on the table, not on you, right? Keep a distance from all. Decrease your time you use on your smartphone and your computer. Decrease it, right? Even small changes make
what about a big difference. My Netflix binges?
Stop it. Okay, so if you're going to Netflix binge and you're going to be on an airplane, you don't dare stream it. Or if you're in a car, you download it, you put it on your computer, and then you watch it.
Okay. No, I can see that. Yeah,
okay.
Totally.
All right. I learned that.
I just want to see your
bedroom
face,
a sanctuary. All right. We're going to talk about
what's
that.
the bedroom for?
Sleep and sex and no RF frequencies, right? Remove your headsets or earpieces from your head when you're not on a call. I've got a neighbor right over here. She never takes off her Bluetooth thing. It's beep. It's all the time, that little thing that pops in here. It's got a little blue thing. It scares me to death, and she won't listen to me. I've told her multiple times, you're putting a brain tumor right through your brain.
I've never felt good about, okay, guys, even before I knew anything about EMF, when I saw Bluetooth things in the ears, even when I was a kid, I would go, I just don't know about that. I just don't see how, like, transmitting a sound into your head is like, even I didn't know anything about health. Like, that always got to me. Intuition.
I know, right?
Go for it.
Oh, we're running late. We're running late, guys. I'm so sorry. This is running over. Choose non-wireless options, right? Instead of wireless, right? And so laptops, printers, gaming consoles, handsets, security. My ADT is wireless here. It's apparently messing up the whole thing. Your mouse, your keyboard, your video cameras, your HVAC unit, your speakers, your headphones, your microphones, everything needs to be wired.
Wow. And that's what
Isn't
Vicky
that
just said. She said air tube is okay, but wired is okay. Bluetooth is a no-go.
Bluetooth is a no-go. Don't rely on Radiation Shield or other products claiming to block RF frequency. Those stickers and all of that, 100% placebo. Does not work. Okay. They don't block your radio frequency, okay? According to the U.S. Federal Trade Commission and Vicki Warren, because I contacted her today about that, products that interfere with the phone signal may force it to work harder and emit more radio frequency in order to stay connected, possibly increasing your radio frequency exposure. It is best to use wired solutions always. Don't put a useless sticker on your phone. Okay,
unless it's
work.
John Lennon.
Oh, well, there you go. Distance is always best, right? Away from the bedrooms and the living areas where you spend. Your wireless router has got to be at least 2 to 3 walls away. And that counts if you are upstairs and you have children upstairs in their bedrooms, you can't have the wireless router below their bedroom. So Vicky's going to talk this next week. This is not going to be me, but she's going to talk about distance. Yeah, that's important. Be aware of how close the children are to you and your spouse, or if you're babysitting, when you're using a cell phone or a wireless device, and minimize the children's exposure. For example, do not rest a cell phone on or near your baby, and do not hold a transmitting device near their bodies. Oh, right? Oh, because their brains, their bodies, their bones, everything is malleable, right? Read the fine print. We already talked about that.
Wow.
Okay. Oh my gosh, there's a million different things. This is crazy. This is just crazy. Okay, so you can turn the circuit breaker off at night, and Vicky's going to talk about this next week, right? But if you are in a hotel room, Vicky told us that she actually sleeps at the foot of the bed. She flips the sheets up and she sleeps at the foot, because if you're sleeping in a hotel room, you are right here against everybody else's EMFs in their room over there. Man. So if you will get 6 feet away from it, right? And the same in your bedroom. Maybe you want to flip your bed and get 6 feet away from the wall. And Vicky says, how many people are actually in your bedroom? So who cares? Who cares if your bed's in the middle of the room?
That's my personal business.
I know. Nobody's in my bedroom but an English bulldog. Okay. And I don't know about Faraday cages and all these things that I want Vicky to talk about next week. These cages and things that you can put things in.
That'd be cool.
That block it. Yeah. Where are you going to be next week? Can you listen to this?
I'll be Casey in LA.
Do you know that the bees are dying? This is totally taken off on a wholly different thing, but it could be because of cell phone radiation, right?
I don't doubt that.
The bees are dying. Do you know that ticks are not insensitive to EMF cell phone radiation? So listen to this. The birds controlled the tick population in the past, but birds are dying, right? We've got all these cell phones, and the ticks are increasing. The forests are dying due to cell phone towers, right? Heavy metals are also compounded by electromagnetic fields as well as glyphosate.
I see that. Like, we have patients that come in sometimes, guys, and like literally, like when she's talking about like smartphones or smart watches and things of that sort, and glyphosates and metals, and I will find in certain patients have high amounts of glyphosates that are present in their metals, and it would always take me to areas around their wrists. Get this, and because on the wrist in acupuncture, it has a lot to do with, they call it triple heater, which is the thyroid and heart meridians. And I would check it out, and I was on one side, and I always wonder what was going on. And then they would have their watches and everything off, and I went, put your watch back on. And I'm telling you, that battery is stimulating that acupuncture circuit in their wrist. And sure enough, like when we took it off, their symptoms would go away.
You bet. Amen. Bingo. Yeah.
Many times.
So isn't that fascinating? Well, your light bulbs, if you're using these, are nothing but a toxic waste dump over here, right? Mm-hmm. Not only are they loaded with their mercury, right?
Yep.
They are a hazmat hazard, but apparently they emit a couple forms of radiation out there, of some sort of radiation. I don't know. I don't know that. Vicky can talk all about this. Don't have those. This is interesting. This was Ella moved out this week, and this was the light bulb in her lamp that I just found. And I don't have these in my house. And so I don't know where that came from. But anyway, so check your phone settings, right? See how far it needs to be off your body. But we're going to talk about supplement. I mean, there's no supplements involved in this, but magnesium, of course. If you're disrupting the calcium channel blockers in your body, magnesium is going to be the mineral that you're going to use to calm those calcium channels down, correct?
Yes.
Magnesium threonate is what Dr. Mercola recommends, because of course it crosses, what the studies show is it crosses the blood-brain barrier. And this is mine. I pulled it out of my bathroom, OptiMag Neuro. I love this stuff. It's magnesium threonate. And so that's really about the only thing, that and a little bit about spore-based probiotics, but we'll talk about all that later. Something I was going to tell you, the first step, lower your exposure, right? And remember that your wireless router is basically a cell phone tower in your house. It needs to be at least 2 or 3 rooms away from wherever you are. For sure your darn bedroom, right? All the radiation is coming from inside our home, right? Or not all of it, but a lot of radiation is coming from inside our home. Keep the router as far away as possible. You can even bag the router. I didn't know that. Well, I mean, of course you can, but I mean, I didn't know that. Never thought about it. And I don't know, Vicki may know some websites or something that we can do next week, because guys, you're going to have to come back next week. Dr. Mercola says, get a steam convection oven. Take the microwave out of this over here, which is what I have in mind, because that's what was here when I got here. Take the microwave out, because we're blasting our family's head and jewels and everything else. Cuisinart apparently makes a steam convection oven. Ooh. Okay, right? Change out your light bulbs. Those light bulbs right there. You want plain old regular light bulbs. They give off high frequency wavelengths, right? And they hurt the brain and all that good stuff. And if you experience any of these symptoms, you may be electromagnetic sensitive, right? But here's what I said, is it's not always about food. I constantly talk about food, right? The food, you have to heal the gut, you have to heal the gut, you have to heal the gut. Yes, you do. You have to heal the gut, because when you heal the gut, you begin to heal about 80% of everything else. But then you have things like electromagnetic fields out there. It's a big deal, right? And so it's a cellular level, the mitochondrial level of inflammation going on. You can heal the gut and decrease 80% of the inflammation, but if you have all of this other inflammation going on and you've got all these calcium channels all disrupted over here, I mean, you have to do more than just heal the gut.
Yes.
I mean, you do. So you got to go through your house, right? And you need to go room to room to room and figure out what you need to do. Vicki's going to talk about getting something called a Gauss meter next week. I mean, a Gauss meter to go through your house and figure out where your electrical fields are. If you are building a house, if you're considering to build a house, if you're going to buy a house, I wouldn't buy a house, build a house, or anything, or a piece of property until I went through that with a fine-tooth comb. Where are the electromagnetic fields coming from? Yeah. I wouldn't build a house or buy a house with one of those green boxes out front, one of those great big things out front. They have those, whatever. I don't know what they're
called. I'm very aware of those, that when they have those around the house, though. But it is, definitely with the Gauss meter, we have patients that will come in, and I've had to suggest that a few of them get there, because in our practice, we do what we have our own form of kinesiology, do like electromagnetic testing. And the same people who are sensitive to the currents or the outlets in the walls or in the Wi-Fi, they'll also be very sensitive to geopathic stresses. So I say this, though, if you are sensitive to one form of like electromagnetic radiation, like you're going to be sensitive to microwave. It's
well,
amazing.
Vicki talks about, and I guess she will, because she talks about there's all different forms of it. There's electromagnetic, there's microwave radiation, there's all these different kinds of radiation. So I hope you can listen next week.
It's going to be so good.
So, okay, and the research is clear what we're up against. I mean, it is. The research is there, but the big companies, of course, are not on board, right? 5G. I don't even understand 5G, but here's what Vicki said.
I don't even want to know about.
Vicki said the primary issue is, it's supposed. I guess it's being developed because of a need for more data, so more antennas, and now using frequency bandwidths. I don't even know what that means, but she knew that, so she put in parentheses, think radio stations that are slower and near the human frequencies, right? The slower frequencies travel further and penetrate walls. So tech companies really want that. So 5G, is 5G even out yet? I don't know. Is it out?
I think they're trying to push that through. I guess Vicki will talk about that.
Yeah.
When they talk about a bandwidth that's close to human frequency, what it's saying is a bandwidth is literally what it sounds like. It's a bandwidth. And the bandwidth means that it can match a frequency. Vicki may correct me, but it's basically your cells emit certain frequencies. Every cell emits a frequency, a sound. And if a bandwidth is similar to your frequency, it can influence your frequency. Because what do? If I'm near Dani and Dani's near me and we amplify each other because we have frequencies that are similar and we expand and we amplify our wave. If you have a frequency that goes into you, it'll make your cells vibrate with it. Oh. And it can influence your cell's vibration. And cells that vibrate at certain tones can create toxin. And the higher, more toxins you create, the sicker you get.
What are we going to do? Okay, so
Mai Tais.
You got to start with your home. Yeah, Mai Tais for everyone. You got to start with your home. Start in your bedroom first. If you had to pick a room, and I think Vicki would agree with this, pick your bedroom first. Make it a sanctuary. Unplug everything around your bed. Even unplug the lamps. Unplug the lamps. If you can, turn the breakers off in your bedroom at night. Many people do that. They turn the breakers off. They turn the Wi-Fi off at night. There are different controllers. There's different things you can do that. We're going to talk about that next week. Vicki says, what does she say? A Gauss meter measures magnetic fields, not cell phones. Right. So we're going to talk all about that next week. I don't know. So start with your home, start with your bedroom. If you can't heal if you can't sleep. So we need to get you sleeping first in order to get you to heal. But get the baby monitor that is wireless out of your baby's bedroom. Please get it out of the baby's crib and the baby's bedroom. I think they put them right on the crib. And because I watch things, and then work your way out from there. Educate yourself. I'm a big fan of ehtrust.org. I don't know if Vicki is or not, but I love her website as well. Well, there's a website that she is on. I don't know if it's her website, but well, where the heck is it? Where's her? Vicki. If you type in Vicki Warren EMF. She pops up first, and it pops up that website that she's on. It is fantastic, the website. I went through it today, Vicki Warren EMF. But here's what Vicki says, 5 tips to get started. Use your speakerphone at least 7 inches away from your body, okay? At least 7 inches. Don't stream movies or data on your phone. Texting is always best. Wireless router at home has to be 2 walls or 2 floors between it and the bedrooms. Okay? And then no chargers near the beds.
Okay.
And then I was fascinated, Vicki, about your conversation with Dr. Mercola about the hair dryers, because I was thinking about all my patients who are so sick and they're hairdressers, and they're holding hair dryers on everybody's head and themselves all day, every day.
Wow.
Yeah. So she said it has to be 5 feet away from you to be safe. Well, you can't do that. You can't plug it in and stay.
Every time I leave the hairdresser, my hair is just completely sopped.
So listen, guys, I am so sorry that we ran over, but this is so important. I mean, we have data being released all the time, but I'm telling you, you're talking about lobbyists out there and big companies that are going to try to block everything, right? Because, I mean, this is big money. This is billions of dollars out there. And I am fascinated by it, but I see a lot of patients, and so do you, that in the past, I haven't even thought, I don't even ask patients about, do you tingle around your phone? Do you
I mean, if I put it in my pant pockets.
I need to put it in my front pocket. No, I'm joking. Do you tingle around your phone? Do you have these things going on? I mean, I'm going to really have electromagnetic field sensitivity at the forefront here because it's a big piece of it. Just like, we talk about breast implant illness and all of that. I mean, it's all a big piece of the puzzle. Yes. But this is the sign of the times. And Vicki says exposure during security is about 1/10 of the exposure while flying. So I never worry about it. Yeah. So next week she'll talk about going through security and all these things and about why you're flying when you're flying. Yeah.
I like the pat down. I just opt for the pat down.
Yeah, I do too, because I don't get patted down very often. All right, guys. We love you. We appreciate you. We went 15 minutes over tonight. And Shelby, we talked about how we protect on there. There's I went through a whole list of things, and then I can also send you this. But we appreciate you guys. Motley's going to be out
for a while. I gotta travel for work and for seminars and such. I'm so sorry.
So next week it's me and Vicky alone, and then he's not coming back for all of February, I guess.
I got all through. I've got classes and seminars and such. Oh goodness, I'm sorry, but I have to get all my stuff done at the beginning of the seminars or the beginning of the year because I don't want to do it towards the end of the year.
All right. Well, anyway, so we're going to come up with some great things anyway, but we may do some things long distance. You never know. You know, we could do it. But the bottom line is unplug the phone. Get it on airplane mode at night. Don't charge it near your bed. Get the field around your bed clear, at least 6 feet away. Try to turn the breakers off at night. Don't give your kids a phone if you're pregnant, for crying out loud. Don't have the phone anywhere near your stomach. Well, we just shouldn't anyway. Yeah. I sat for years studying with that laptop, right there on my abdomen for years. Never thought a thing about it.
Never thought about it, but now's the time to look forward.
That's right. So clean it up, guys. Appreciate you. I'm so glad. What a great way to start our Sunday night service season on this. And again, it's probably going to be 2 or 3 episodes, but we appreciate you and have a great Sunday night. It's 8:15. I know the Golden Globes are on and you all been watching. Appreciate you. Brooke, I love you. I talked about your OptiMag Neuro tonight. Yes, I love this stuff. This is the greatest magnesium. I love it. I drink it every night. I mix it up a little cocktail and I take my probiotic and all that stuff I take at night. So
and
anyway.
my 3 glasses of wine.
Yeah, no, I do not drink wine much unless I'm with him. Crazy thing. I do not. All right. I love you. All right, guys. We love you.
Bye.
Turn off the phone. Get off the computer right now.
Wait, I got to text somebody.
Oh, shush. Well, text him is fine. Text him is fine. Just don't put it on your, don't put it near the jewels if you want kids.
I can't. What?